Here is why Metaverse business is an evil. Welcome to the entrepreneur game. Let's find out. Ontology trading, ONT, is a new form of crypto trading, but the Metaverse has another side. As a new business initiative for our gloomy and lonely generation, Mark Zuckerberg sees the Metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg wants the Metaverse to profit from his customers' data and privacy, endangering our society. That's what this video is about. There is a lot of money to be made. This is how Metaverse generates money from our deceased society. The reality behind Facebook's Meta rebranding and why Metaverse is the world's most terrible enterprise. It wasn't that long ago that Facebook's creator and CEO Mark Zuckerberg donned a black hoodie similar to that worn by one of his now deceased rivals, Apple's Steve Jobs, and proclaimed a bold new chapter for one of the world's most loathed companies, Meta. The Metaverse, as described by Zuckerberg, is a place where we can all create miniature avatars of ourselves and travel to virtual resorts and do great things. He gushed about how cool it is while smiling and waxing poetically about it. This is so crucial to Zucky that he is reorganizing his entire organization to accommodate it. The general population is expected to be enthused. There has been a series of scandals revealed by leaks and whistleblowers, including how Zucky's company fueled hate and shilled for Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump, incited the January 6 uprising, and is currently killing tens of thousands of more Americans by weaponizing anti-vaccine propaganda and conspiracy cults like QAnon. During the late capitalist era, the compelling force of technology rendered atrocities quickly forgettable. Even though I would love for the Metaverse and Zuckerberg's version of it, Meta, to be the biggest technological flop since the Segway scooter, I'm not optimistic about this. I believe that the Metaverse is the next phase of the internet, which is terrible news considering the previous phase of internet development. It is not simply a bad business idea or a con, as Isabella Kaminska of the Financial Times asserted. The Metaverse is a legitimate and viable business model. It is a moral evil that, along with fascism and climate change, has the potential to precipitate the demise of civilization. Failure to recognize this indicates a complete lack of comprehension of Zuckerberg's prior innovation, which is essential to understanding Meta and the Metaverse. Of course, no one is going to pay attention. We've been defying logic for years. Why should we change our ways now? What if you could escape the actual world and live in a computer-generated illusion that would deceive your senses and make you considerably happier? This is a concept that has been floating around in science fiction for a long time. The characters in Star Trek: The Next Generation, which premiered in 1987, occasionally travel to the holodeck, which is a computer-generated fantasy world, although the program presents the vast majority of holodeck users as benign and responsible, according to the show. In one episode, a member of the Enterprise crew overreached with his holodeck aspirations, but he was eventually cured of his holodiction and went on to live happily ever after. More recently, Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One 2018, which is based on a popular novel about characters in an increasingly hopeless real-world fighting for an award in a virtual one, was released. The Matrix films, the 2014 film The Congress, and even Aldous Huxley's 1932 novel Brave New World, in which the Metaverse is formed of drugs rather than pixels, but the same concept, all depict the Metaverse in some way. Prepared Player One was a hilarious pop culture mashup about folks who have given up on the real world and are increasingly living in a fictional one. Who doubts what the Metaverse will be if it is developed, as Zuckerberg claims, probably correctly? Of course, you'll have access to virtual lollipop trees and virtual meadows, and your boss can invite you to a staff meeting where you'll be transformed into a unicorn or a Lego-like version of yourself, your acne scars miraculously erased. A virtual boss will pinch your virtual avatar's butt and demand that you watch virtual porn with him, or he'll fire you. He won't be committing a crime because nothing in the Metaverse is real enough for legal liability to attach. Don't inquire about your personal data or privacy. Zuckerberg will own them forever, and the impact on your mental health will be utterly ignored. The Meta business and its partners, including Coca-Cola and Lufthansa, will openly push holodiction. The horrible secret Lieutenant Barclay was cured of in Star Trek: The Next Generation. But the Metaverse's moral inversion is arguably more harmful. To put it simply, the world stinks, so give up and play in a virtual one. With his billions protecting him, no one can force Zuckerberg to quit playing in his digital playground and return to rectify the disaster he wrecked in the real world. In Ready Player One and The Congress, characters find the actual world so damaged that they yearn to escape into the metaverse where things aren't so horrible and dangerous. Meta will become a multi-billion-dollar industry since many people want to escape the real world's issues, especially if they can earn a job there. Meanwhile, climate change is worsening, wealth disparity is out of control, and the world's political and economic structures are collapsing. Zucky wants you to forget it. Put on a VR headset and forget about it all. Give him your credit card first. But even the metaverse itself won't be as perfect or enjoyable as Zucky claims. It'll be a complete nightmare from start to finish. It's wishful thinking to imagine that the problems that exist on the internet now won't be repeated and exacerbated in a virtual reality world. The metaverse will be the best thing ever for Nazis, racists, misogynists, and cult leaders, and the worst thing ever for the climate, oceans, and ecosystem. It'll be a dystopian nightmare, I guarantee it. Imagine Nazis attending rallies without ever leaving home. They can be in the metaverse. Their acts of violence will still be real. Who thinks Zuckerberg's virtual utopia will be overtaken by small digital Nazis worshipping an all-powerful digital Hitler, or Trump, who never dies? Nick Fuentes and Andrew Anglin will use the metaverse to recruit and organize real-world Nazis. Until the Nazis abuse the metaverse, we can't stop them from accessing or utilizing it because Zuckerberg will make sure it's an inclusive zone of free speech. Who believes J.K. Rowling will use the metaverse to incite hatred towards trans people, or ExxonMobil will use it to disprove global warming? Who thinks that racism, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, and conspiracy theories will have even more freedom in the metaverse than they do today? We'll see. Zuckerberg? He's done so well in that role so far, let's give him greater responsibility. A simple question follows. What is the societal goal of the metaverse? The question is as problematic as asking what is the real purpose of Facebook. What is it? To connect? Entertainment? To promote trade? Facebook's true aim is and has always been to benefit Mark Zuckerberg financially. Let me give you a hint. The metaverse serves the same purpose. Any benefit to anyone other than Mark Zuckerberg is just incidental. Since the pyramids, Xanadu is the richest monument a man has constructed to himself, says Charles Foster Kane in the 1941 film Citizen Kane. Facebook is a good example. Some may argue that a technological breakthrough is neither ethically good nor harmful in and of itself. It is how humans use it that matters. That kind of an argument might have some appeal in a place of pure intellect, like an ancient Greek temple where we debate philosophy in togas. In reality, that kind of thinking gets us nowhere. An AR-15 or a nuke has only one use. The Auschwitz gas chambers served one purpose. You can't separate technology's moral elements from the humans who use it. Propagating fascist dictatorship and economic rapacity are not valid reasons to reject this technology as an ultimate moral evil, as claimed by Mark Zuckerberg. Myths and legends remind us of bigger challenges, especially moral ones. We risk ignoring their warnings. The metaverse, like Tolkien's One Ring, is something that should never be created, but whose construction, usage, and abuse is probably unavoidable. Just as many other technology-based enterprises will be destroyed by the climate change catastrophe, I euphemistically say, the big slowdown. That is, the collapse of civilization, the metaverse itself will be destroyed by the climate change catastrophe we euphemistically call the Great Slowdown. Sadly, it can and will cause extensive damage in a short time. That was all from this video. Make sure to hit a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more.